I hope you didn't miss the message. Welcome to Into the Nerd. This is your boy Gershon. Today we're going to be doing kind of a review and kind of an analysis on what I got from Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, this was a biopic about Fred Hampton and William O'Neill, the gentleman who was an informant for the FBI, who pretty much, no, not pretty much, he did assist in the assassination of the leader of the Black Panther from the Illinois chapter. Now, what's very interesting about this film is, well, first off, I just want to start off with the acting. LAKEITH Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya did an amazing job. Daniel Kaluuya actually sounds like Fred Hampton. He did a really good job with that, and obviously he's English. I just love the way they're able to switch accents greatly. And I saw him in an interview saying like he literally had to approach it like he had to just remove himself completely, like just his spirit, and try to like just get his spirit to inhabit his body. It's pretty evident there. The talent is awesome. It's well acted by everyone. What I want everyone to kind of get is the message, because a lot of people might see this and get only the surface stuff, like, yeah, you know, pain, suffering, the police, racism, right? They might only get that part because that might be what you're trained to get right now. However, you have to look at what Fred Hampton and Huey Newton and even Malcolm X in the film were really saying. And they were talking about dignity, right? Black people need to be able to find dignity within themselves and not look to others to create a space for them to be able to get it. Pretty much Huey Newton, if you know anything about the Black Panthers, pretty much said that they are like children of Malcolm X's teaching. So that's what the Black Panthers represented. And obviously in the film, they did a couple really cool things where they show like what the Black Panthers were really doing when it came to like free children for breakfast, the stuff that they were really famous for doing, and the false narrative that they were exactly like the Klan, which was a terrorist organization, right? I mean, they weren't going out there lynching, running into homes of white families and just murder. Like, we understand what the Klan was doing. I don't have to really go into that. They're not the same type of thing. They're not the same. I don't even have to go into that. But what they are preaching is understanding what you have to teach yourself and what you have to embody, and not looking to others to be able to give that to you. And I'm mentioning that because I see that a lot in the creative space too, like whether it's content creators who are hoping for platforms to like give them something and say, I need you guys to like recognize me. Whereas if you looked at what the Black Panthers were doing, and even before them, obviously Malcolm X, you're talking about like, you have to be able to look in a mirror and accept yourself. And if even in this film, there was not one time where Fred Hampton was like, I just wish white people would accept us. Like, that wasn't what he was saying. He was just like, look, man, like, we gotta do for ourselves. Let's educate ourselves, teach our children to accept ourselves. That's where it starts. It starts with how you're teaching your children. Like, they can't look to like fictional characters, which is something that's very big that happens with comics. Like, we need this person, we need this person to look like this, so then my kids have someone to look up to. Really? That's your job. And now something that was pretty much said in this movie. Some people that might go right over their head, but when they're teaching the children and making them feel empowered and helping their own neighborhood, because you cannot depend on a system that does not want that for you to do it for you. And that's what people are doing now. Like maybe let's just go depend on this government, which already knew was morally wrong, to help us stop it. You did see them align with the Young Patriots and the Young Lords, right? Which is great, especially if you know anything about the Rainbow Coalition, which talked about what they had in common. Joining up with people is always great when it's mutually beneficial, not when it's only beneficial for one. It's one of the things that Malcolm X often spoke about when it came to Martin Luther King's journey for civil rights, right? Because you want them to go, hey, let me eat in your restaurant, let me do this, let me do, let us sit together. But it's not beneficial for you because you don't know how to stand on your own 2 feet yet. So they let you in the neighborhoods, and they let you live in these places. Like they'd rather you do that. They'd rather you be close rather than be over there and grow into something beneficial to yourself. Because then you can't control you from over there. It can control you from right here up close. Now, Fred Hampton obviously had a more militaristic approach because, he looked up to people. Like, he's a Marxist and a Leninist, right? Like, he believed in that, like in Che Guevara, where people, like, he understood that violence. He said, violence is sometimes necessary for change. And it's hard not to understand why he thought that way, because his parents were like transplants from the South, and a lot of other people from Illinois, because they were escaping violence. So they are made in violence. So obviously they're going to see that. It's going to be a bit different, right? For everyone. And even Malcolm X wasn't like a super violent military dude. He was just like, if you come for me, I'm going to defend myself, by any means necessary. Like, if I have to do it, I'm not gonna be scared of violence. It's something that I really thought was really cool, because they understood that why the Second Amendment right was important. Because a lot of people right now, specifically when you talk about it, like black people, they're like, oh, like gun control. You understand, like, guns saved a lot of your ancestors from a lot of stupidity from happening. So I'm all for people being armed. Obviously, I would like to I don't want people to get hurt by a maniac, but I also understand how important it was for African Americans in this country to be armed to be able to protect themselves. You have a government that tells you that this other group over here is dangerous, but then doesn't want you to have the means to be able to defend yourself from that. It's very backwards. And it was something that you could see that was kind of demonstrated in this film. Police were very violent. Imagine if they had no guns or anything to be able to defend themselves, if need be. It would have been way worse than it needed to be. All you have to do is look at other events like Red Summer in the past and understand what it meant for African Americans to be armed in the face of other people who are also armed trying to kill them. Look that up when you can, Red Summer. And even look at past events like Tulsa. Like, mind you, that ended way worse than the Red Summer event, but still, you had like veterans from war who were armed that actually lessened some of the casualties. So I thought this film did a really good job at illustrating you don't have to like ask for dignity. You can achieve that on your own. Educate yourself. Be okay with looking at yourself in the mirror. And you can partner up with other people who don't look like you, because you can join together based off of not your struggle, right? You can join based on that. Like, your skin color is not the only thing that binds you to someone. It's not. And if you look in that church scene and you see like a preacher man, I forgot his real name, but in real life, this dude, I think his name is Bob Lee, who's another Black Panther leader, was pretty much like, that was one of the best guys he's ever known in his life. Like, these people really got along with each other. They were able to look at each other like human beings. And right now, it's like hard for people to do that. Like, people look at each other like, oh, you don't look like me, so it's impossible for you to know what I'm going through. What? Stop that. Stop the division. Look at people like people. If a person does something wrong, then you judge them on the actions they've shown you. But a lot of people right now are just like, straight, oh, skin color, you're white, you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, if you're black, you must think this way. And then people are kind of like falling for things hook, line, and sinker, which is what Malcolm X was talking about. Like, you believe this side because they say certain things to you that they are for you in some way, shape, or form. But that's just not true. It just isn't. You saw it in the film with Ray Mitchell talking to Will O'Neill, like, look, they're just like the Klan, blah, blah. And, he was like, I'm looking out for you. This sounds like something, right? We're trying to protect you. You need us to be able to be successful. No, you don't. This is why a lot of scholars believe that the Civil Rights Act actually set us back, because once we got so focused on being able to belong and be accepted, it's one thing to talk about you don't want people to be able to hurt you and harm you. I'm down with that. Like, I honestly don't care if someone accepts me or not. I just don't. And you can see this in in the creative works in terms of comics, stuff like that, because everyone's like, I hate to see myself, right? Everyone goes with, I need people to tell this story. No, you don't. No, you don't. Like I don't care. Like I can write the story. If I see a character that I don't really dig, I'm just not gonna dig him. And there's also other writers out there who are doing like a great job when it comes to this. Like you want like Marvel or DC or whatever comic book company to adhere to your values. Why? They honestly don't have to. They don't. Mind you, I like some characters obviously from everything, but I'm not getting mad if they do a certain character whatever way their creator was gonna do it. I'm just not gonna read their books. Right? Like that's what I could do. That's how I think objectively. Just I won't read it if I don't like it, and I can just do my own, and I can just create my own thing. If that's just me, that's what I do. Like I write, so I would create my own hero, and I don't need to see myself. Like someone doesn't have to give me something for me to want to create something. That's the whole point of me creating something that doesn't exist. I see it here, and then I want to make it a reality. It doesn't already have to be real in order for me to conceptualize it. You understand? And I really like that about this movie because Fred Hampton was only 21 years old, and he was quite the visionary. He had great oratory skills, and he was able to really sway people just by how he spoke, whether there were people who looked like him or didn't. And that was excellent. And it was wonderfully illustrated here. I love LaKeith Stanfield's ability to be able to like show you pain. Like he has this way of like emoting that like you feel what he feels. Like that complex nature of like O'Neill, who in real life does wind up killing himself in like 1990, like they said at the end of the film. Also, there was some liberties they took in there. Like obviously there was no Jimmy Palmer, like the guy that died in the hospital, but there were a lot of people that were like him, right? But yeah, that's really all I gotta say. There's like some really good messages in this film. I urge everyone to go see this film. Obviously there was some, I mean, I can't say it's a spoiler because it's real life, so you can just look up the story if you want to. But I thought it was excellent, and it had some good messages that I feel like everyone should be able to see. Black, white, purple, whatever, you can take something out of it. All right? Let me know what you think. If you love the movie, if you didn't like the movie, let's have a conversation about it. And that's it. Enter the Nerd.